Hello fellow leggers, thank you for joining us once again for another theatre trip. Yes, it's happening.
It's happening, and it's still happening, more importantly. I mean, it's been a few weeks since we were at the theatre.
It's still crazy in the world.
It's still
Rule of
crazy
6
in the
is
world.
coming in.
Yes.
And who knows if lockdowns in the north of the UK are coming into
might
force.
spread, who knows?
Who knows, but for the time being.
Yes, theatres are putting on shows and they are inviting you to come along, and we've been invited back here to the Eagle, which has the Garden Theatre in its garden, and they are putting on a production of Pippin.
So stick around fellow leggers to hear all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
And whether it's break a leg
Or leg it. It's busy, it's bustling, we're on a street corner like a cheap whore. But we are going to the theatre, and if you don't know us already, we do all sorts of theatre stuff.
Theatre reviews, theatre opinions, all things theatre.
Interviews, and if you want that sort of thing, then hit subscribe. Join us, join our community of fellow leggers.
And find out about the theatre that is happening.
Yeah.
And this evening while it's happening, Pippin.
The blooming musical Pippin.
Okay.
Is happening right here at the Garden Theatre. Now,
What do we need to know?
It's an iconic and much loved musical with a book by Roger O'Harson and music and lyrics by the legendary Stephen Schwartz.
Who also did Wicked.
He did Prince of Egypt.
Less said the better.
Yes.
Well,
About that.
controversial.
But
see our review up there.
Yes, check out our review of Prince of Egypt. Now, the musical is the story of a young prince and his quest to fulfill his purpose in life and learn the true meaning of glory, love and war, as told by a troupe of actors who break the fourth wall to welcome the audience on the journey with Pippin.
Okay.
We've got magic to do.
We've got magic to do. Join us.
Join us.
Okay.
Now, the piece originally premiered on Broadway in 1972, directed and choreographed by another legend, Bob Fosse.
Yes.
Now, it received commercial and critical acclaim, picking up 11 Tony Award nominations that following season and winning 5 of them, including Best Direction and Best Choreography, of course, for Bob Fosse.
Okay.
Now, the show subsequently mounted productions here in the UK and all across the world, and a Broadway revival in 2013 brought further success and introduced the story to a whole new generation of theatregoers.
I guess also to us, because that was the first time I saw it, we saw that Broadway production.
We did, and it was spectacular.
It was big.
It was big.
Which is very different to what's happening here.
So here at the Garden Theatre, tiny little auditorium in the garden, but what you're guaranteed is an intimate performance with literally people belting in your face, and from what I've seen in the production stills, people jumping towards you with such like ferocity as to make you sort of leap back in your seat. It's going to be an immersive experience. Now, the Garden Theatre, as with last time, with temperature checks on the door.
Oh, to make sure it's all COVID secure. We were very impressed last time.
We were track and trace in place.
So we'll let you know what that's like again today.
And you have to wear
I imagine
a
it'll be
face
the
mask.
same stuff.
Yeah, same stuff as last time. Now, interestingly, when the piece premiered on Broadway originally, it was presented without an interval. But the show has been extended and modified over time, leading to the inclusion of an interval in most productions.
Right.
But this revival, which has been directed by Stephen Dexter, who also directed Fanny and Stella here, and choreographed by Winston, who we love.
We've done many a review of his productions.
And he did Fanny and Stella as well, so what a dream team. They've received London.
It wasn't us. We didn't do it.
Honestly, we're in a bubble. We can be
ambulance.
close to one another.
Okay.
Now, it's received special permission to return to its one-act origins and be performed straight through.
Okay.
And by a small cast.
They received permission for that also?
Yes, 6 people in the cast for
this. Which again helps it make it kind of COVID secure, because you've got a small bubble, no intervals, so you don't have to worry about interval logistics.
Exactly. Makes complete sense. Now, in that cast, in the title role of Pippin, is Ryan Anderson. We last saw him playing Arab in West Side Story at the Curve Leicester. And he's performing alongside the legend, ex-Strictly Come Dancing professional, Joanne Clifton. Now, Joanne is playing the roles of Fastrad and Bertha, and she's cutting out quite a career on the musical theatre stage at the moment. So she's recently toured in Flashdance and the Rocky Horror Show, which we saw, and we've got a review for that. just up there.
Okay.
Overwhelming demand has led to several extensions of this production here at the Garden Theatre Eagle Vauxhall, and it's now playing its 90 minutes with no interval until the 11th of October.
Wow, there you go.
Lots to take
so that's
in.
all the information.
Yeah,
I am interested to know how this is going to work, because like I say, we saw the big production. What is it like when you scale it back
when
to
you
its
strip
bare
it
bones?
back to the piece has got to do a lot of work, hasn't it? Because it's you can't have full bells and whistles in such a tiny space with a tiny cast.
Or can you?
Is
it quality over quantity?
Surely
it's what you do
and with
it.
this creative team I feel pretty safe. But no 30-second interval breakdown, because there ain't no interval, but we'll be catching you at the end to tell you all of our thoughts and find out how many stars.
Well, fellow leggers, we have come to the end of Pippin here at the Eagle. Is it the Garden Theatre?
The Garden Theatre.
The Garden Theatre. And do you know what? Last time we were here, we nominated the front of house staff because they were so nice, and they've been lovely again.
Yeah.
They've let us come into the performance space to do this end of the review. This is the space. This is the lighting.
This is the stage.
Isn't it magical?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. So we're not on the street.
And what else is beautiful is the team here at the Eagle.
The team. Should we talk about the team first of all, the venue?
Let's talk about the venue. So not only do you feel safe from the security on the door taking your temperature and checking your bags with a smile and with a sort of lovely warm welcome and a friendly welcome to the
behind
service,
their little screen.
Yeah, to the service that you get provided when you order a drink and they bring it over. Do you know what? It's just a lovely venue.
I feel really welcoming. It's really friendly.
I feel really at home here.
It's the sort of place that I would go, let's go there.
Yes.
Because I know they're really nice.
Even
they're
when
really
it's
friendly.
just a bar, which it is a lot of the time, we would come for a drink.
I'd come for a drink for sure.
Any day of the week.
COVID safe, all those things.
Yep.
Same, there's hand sanitizer.
Escorted in and out as well, so everyone's not all crowded. Now, we did say there wasn't an interval.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but there is a 5-minute little pause.
There's a 5-minute pause.
And even then, the front of, I was going to say, the bouncer guy came over to the toilet to make sure that there was only the amount of people in the toilets that there should be. He walked straight in there and was like ready to go, no, out, right. So
in a nice way, though. You're making it sound like he was going to get
He's such a lovely guy.
Rip you out and say, get out, like mid-stream.
Maybe that's just wishful thinking.
You know, you've peed all over the floor.
Yeah, so really nice and really well policed, really well enforced.
Yes.
So as usual,
you're using such aggressive terminology. Policed, enforced.
Well, sometimes we want to know that, but sometimes you want to, because when you're in the supermarket and like you're thinking that mask is over your mouth, it's no way really knows.
You're too close.
Where are the staff? Why is nobody saying this isn't right? And I felt here that no, they get it right, and I say enforced in a good way because it should be policed, it should be enforced to make us feel safe.
Good.
So it's good.
That's the venue.
Just putting it out there.
That's the venue.
Venue have got it right.
Let's move on to the production.
Let's move on to the. Well, I think before we even get onto the production, we should probably get onto the piece, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about the piece before we talk about the production.
Now, I remember seeing it in 2014. We saw it after it had a cast change
over on Broadway.
And a friend of ours that we took along, it's his favourite show. Like it's absolutely his favourite piece. And I do remember at that point being a little underwhelmed by the piece itself and thinking, it's a bit confusing,
a bit forgettable for me.
What it is very much so is metaphor the musical. Like this could be anything. It could be almost about anything. You could project your own thoughts and feelings and interpretation onto what is happening on stage at many points. And what's in the text is very loose. I think I can describe it as loose.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion. Keep going.
And the piece for me, in terms of book and story, it's not my favourite.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I'll come on to music afterwards because that's a different beast.
Agree that I think when we saw it on Broadway, big production. I remember coming away. I don't remember much actually, and I think a lot of the story got lost. Having seen it now, I'm kind of touching on this production a little because it's stripped back. I think the core story is actually really quite strong. And you're right; it's very metaphorical. There's a lot in there about feeling as if we need to fulfill something or the pursuit of happiness happiness or the pursuit of dreams?
Yeah.
How do we know when we get there?
What
am I going to be?
What is life
am I going to be? What is this about? And there's
Should
a lot
I
in
always
there.
be aspiring for more? Can I
And there's
settle?
a lot in there about
Should
politics as well, and it's easy to snipe but then when you're in the driving seat,
do you want
suddenly it's a different story, and you
Yes.
understand the big decisions. So there's a lot going on in there. But then come the end, come the payoff, and this payoff seemed to be the same as the Broadway one,
because
there's
mentioned
different
that
payoffs.
not until 1998 was the ending that we now typically see for this piece introduced. You know, when it was first staged, it ended a little bit differently.
So this ending, I think this is a really good payoff, and come the end of the piece, I think actually this is really quite a strong message, and I think it lands really well. It's written really well. I don't remember, this is where it's quite suicidal in its ending, without spoilers and I don't remember that in the Broadway one, and it's really hard hitting. It's like, whoa, this pursuit of fame that fizzles and burns really hot and then is over, but you go in a blaze of glory, and is it worth it? All of those metaphorical messages are in there in the piece, and for that I liked the piece.
And the point as well that even after all of that, what you're left with is just yourself. Like, you're still you at the end of all of that. So even no matter what people have thought about you and what your image might be, you're still you with your own insecurities and your own failings and your own expectations, your own disappointments.
But big messages in there about the pursuit of happiness, which I think is really relevant.
Which really,
really relevant to this.
Clearly really worked for you. Don't work really for me. Like,
didn't work for you?
Just don't work for me as a story, personally.
What didn't you like?
I don't know whether it's I feel it. I don't know whether I care about it. I don't know whether I can put myself enough in the position of that person for it to become a personal story. At moments, it resonated with me, and specifically, if we can move on to the music, oh, it's time to start living.
The song sheet. We all got our own little laminated song sheet as well, and we're invited to join in.
In that number, when it talks about grabbing life by the balls and refusing to grow old if you don't feel old, you know,
you liked that sentiment.
The sentiment, and you know, I know I'm not old by any stretch of the imagination, but your priorities and the way that you view things do change as you get older. And I think if you can have an outlook on life, much like Pippin's grandmother does in this, is take every moment.
We never see her again, do we?
No,
actually,
but take every moment that you can and cherish it and make the most of it. Suck the marrow out of life. Those bits I really loved, and in the score, that number specifically is really simple. Like, it's almost just like 4 chords.
Blum, blum, blum,
like, that's
blum,
it.
blum, blum.
But it's so effective.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's so effective because it is so simple, and the lyrics are beautiful. There are some great bangers in this score, guys. Ones that you all know and love. Ones that I'm sure a lot of you that perform have performed in the past.
Funny how many songs actually I was like, oh, okay, this is from this. This is from this. This is from this.
You've
that
got
I'd forgotten
Corner
about.
of the Sky, Morning Glow, Magic to Do. They're all there,
and
you know them. I would say you
They're
probably
all
know
in the
more in
first
Act
act.
1. Yeah, Act 1 is the numbers act.
It's
Act
the
2
kind
is
of
a bit
setup.
more of the story act.
But it was okay. And that second act was quicker and had more of the payoff to get to where we were going from the setup from the first act. So that works for me. I was fine with that. I think it works in this 90-minute version. If we're talking about the piece, I think we've got to drive through. Yeah, and it was driven this evening.
It's what is really good.
The music was good.
I'm going to segue into the production now.
This production that we specifically saw.
What is good is it's set at the time that it was written. So it's set in the late 70s.
All psychedelic, as you can kind of see.
The whole thing is an acid
bit
trip.
Happy, a bit hippie, a bit happy, hippie.
Hippie,
a bit hippie, happy, hippie.
The whole thing is an acid trip. The whole thing is like, you have been given a tab of acid and you are on a journey now, and everything's a bit surreal and everything's a bit colourful and psychedelic, and it just suits so well the score. You know, it brings that music to life. It's God's Godspell-esque. Like
Yeah,
everything about it
absolutely.
is Schwartz Godspell. You can tell that they were written in close succession.
Because it's almost an ensemble of people who are putting on a show or telling a story. That's very Godspell as well, kind of like all merging, but having a central character. And as such, the performers then play many different roles. They play ensemble members, and they have specific roles that they interchange with.
That's not typical, that doubling up, but it works so
really
well because you would
absolutely.
expect a troupe of actors that were in rep to be able to play roles, and they're all vying for that leading part in every scene. And actors are full of ego and they want to be the centre of attention. So when the leading player is deciding who to choose, they want to. If one of
Please
them,
pick me. I'd
freely be. If one of them could have played every part, they would have done.
And do you know, that'd be quite a fun version of this, where they're
just
like,
have two.
Do you know? No, but where
people,
almost like Mary Stuart, where they decide at the start, like who's going to play the queen, which queen, like whoever is the narrator decides who's going to play whatever part. To say like you're going to play the king this time, you're going to play the nun. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be a challenge as an actor.
Anyway,
like you need to know. However, because I'm going to call on you. That'd be great.
As such, I thought this production had great vision. It moved so well. It had energy because it's only relying on 6 people. They are so busy all the times. It's such a. This is the space. What you can see
there's less
is
than 50
the
people here. It's what I would say.
You could walk
maybe
across
18
it in
foot
5 seconds.
by 7 feet. It's tiny.
It's tiny, and yet they are moving as if they're on the Dominion stage. Like the movement they're given is huge.
Yeah, it really is. And again, this is the magic of Nick Winston.
And Stephen Dexter.
And Stephen Dexter,
director.
Stephen
Director.
Oh my God,
the lighting is really wonderful. You keep going, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us, Stephen. Again, off the back of Fanny onto Pippin. But no, lovely to see Stephen. What was saying?
We were talking about the production, that there's only 6, that this is the space, but boy, is it dynamic and is it energetic. Because it's Nick. And I love the direction as well. I thought I do think the direction of this and the choreography, when we talk about Nick Winston, was great. They just don't stop.
They don't
stop. Obviously, there are moments where they stop and sing, but they are few and far in between. There is stuff happening all the time.
This is what we mean when clearly this production has got a lower budget than some of the bigger shows that we've seen. I'm thinking recently we've seen shows where they've had money thrown at them in terms of set, in terms of lighting, in terms of costume, but they've not put on a show.
It's been uninspired.
And this is what this creative team do. They put on a more enjoyable experience without all of that money and without those settings and without those privileges.
You don't need bells and whistles
Theatre
to put on a good production.
Anywhere, and this just goes to demonstrate that that's true.
So this production for me was great. Yeah. So hang on, even though you weren't a fan of the piece, what did you think of the production?
I really enjoyed the production.
Okay, well that's good.
The piece is by the by, and particularly the book. I mean, what can we do about that? But I admire anybody that can take that and do something with it. Because for me, I think I would put it down. I mean,
you're right. It is The Rink, for example, but it is more of a Godspell, and it's more fragmented, and it is those metaphors. But this production makes something of it.
Yeah.
I got to say, some slight adaptations as well. The cast are under a big canopy, which they weren't under for Fanny and Stella.
They were exposed to the elements.
I think we're preparing for the long haul. For the autumn, for when rain comes, you're still going to get a good show. Yes. It's something I just thought I'd say that I thought about.
Let's move on to cast, because we're going on and on.
Oh my goodness, it's been so long already.
I know. Right, so let's talk about cast. Is there any, particularly, let's pull out Ryan Anderson in the role of Pippin himself. I think we can only talk about him.
I thought he was a really good actor.
We have to. We can talk about anybody. Not only
we have to talk. This is the title role. We have to talk about. We have to get him in there. So I thought he was great. He had really great vocal. He had a really committed performance, and the boy could move. He just threw in a box split, just like that,
just
like nowhere.
You can.
It was done so quick as well. As if this is nothing.
Dinner, and he just enters the room with a box split.
But you wouldn't even notice because it's just
it's just so
moving
easy.
on. And Nick really challenged him as well. He didn't give him an easy time during some of those numbers, specifically extraordinary for this space and for also that vocal for that number was extraordinary.
Yeah.
It was great.
I would say what impressed me so much with him was his acting ability to act through song with such conviction as he did was really, truly impressive. And also his accent was unfaltering. I thought his accent was great. I thought it is interesting to set this in America because it could have been set anywhere really, but it sort of had the backdrop of the Vietnam War, very Hair-esque, very
Yes,
of
I
that
had the feel of Hair.
political period,
Yeah, definitely.
which was much more resonant. You know, the Vietnam War was a war between America and Vietnam, so that would make sense. But I loved his accent.
There we go.
He could talk
Many
to me.
things that he was good at, and his accent.
And his
There we go.
accent.
Who else?
Let's talk about leading player in Sesame Bob Egby. I've probably butchered that, and I really apologise because I'm just completely ignorant.
Great vocal.
Sesame Bob Egby. There
I
you
thought
go.
absolutely brilliant vocal.
Yeah.
A really commanding presence.
Yeah.
Kind of. That was the only character she played through the whole thing. I think it's her and Pippin are the two
don't double up
for anything else. Although taking on ensemble here and there. Really good vocal. Really enjoyed that. Really great performance.
Yeah, I loved her too because she does have to drive that piece, and that is her position in this is the narrative, is the narrator, and she has to. Every single line has to land as the point is lost.
And we
But
say
she
there
did
wasn't
so
that
well.
much in the second act, but there was a really great number between her and Pippin in the second number when they were almost sparring against each other. I loved that.
Great.
Didn't remember that in the Broadway production. Really stood out here.
Also, if we were to be a little bit predatory and give a Break a Leg as nomination for Best Arms, it would go to Harry Francis.
Because that's totally a category in the Olivier Awards, right? Best
If
arms.
it was, he would.
So it's
he would
only
have-
fair
he
that
would
we
have
have a
He's got
category
lovely
as
arms.
the Legos.
But not only does he have lovely arms, I was watching him very closely at how
I bet you were.
I was watching him very closely
Yes.
at how present he was in scenes that didn't involve him.
Absolutely.
And he was always
A committed
so
performer.
committed and present.
They all
It's
were,
very
yeah.
easy when the focus isn't on you to drop it just for a second, and he never did.
Okay, great.
is
It's great that
brilliant.
you picked up from him, and
Great
I'd agree.
talent.
I'd say it's also there for the rest of the company because it is so intimate. You're right on top of everything. There is no escaping. So they are always on.
In focus.
They're always in focus.
Yeah,
So
but it'd be easy
really
to
good stuff.
forget that, and he never did.
But hey, those
And
arms.
Also, those arms. We must talk about Joanne Clifton.
Boy,
because-
must we talk about
because she's
Jim
like
Clifton.
I mean, she's the biggest name in this by a country mile,
But,
right?
like,
Being-
you can have a big
how many
name.
seasons of Strictly?
Yeah, but and just being for name's sake, do you know what I mean? And
But
not
not
actually, not Joe.
'Cause-
Joe has earned her place. Boy,
Yeah.
is she good.
Yeah, I almost feel like some people would do Strictly as a gateway to theatre, but really, I feel like this is where she's always belonged.
She
Do
is
you know what I mean?
brilliant. She's
Like-
such a good mover.
Yeah.
She's got a great voice as well. And I think her biggest strength is her character acting.
Character work.
The way she owns the character.
Yeah.
She had great stuff to play with here.
Yeah.
Her little lines that I'm not sure if are in the text or whether they added them in. I'm sure
Maybe
they
a
added
bit
in
of
because
ad-lib.
they were a bit of COVID
There was a bit
stuff.
of COVID ad-lib
She
going
had some
on.
great COVID ad-lib going on, which the comic timing within the character was brilliant.
That's it. It's okay to get a funny line, but unless you sell it and deliver it, what's the point?
And she sold
But
it.
she's got
She
great
made
timing.
a point.
Great vocal, great dancing, captivating
nothing wrong.
figure, and
Yes.
fantastic character work. Like
She had
absolutely
great
brilliant.
arms.
Let's throw in a Break a Leg as nomination.
Hell yes.
For best actress, best support. What would she be? Let's
I
do
think
best
she-
actress. 'cause
Best
they're all-
actress.
Best
She was
actress
that
in a
good.
musical.
She was best
Break a Leg
actress.
award. And you know what? Let's give Ryan one for best actor
And
in the
another.
role of Pippin. Because he was great too, absolutely. We need to round it up. It's gone on.
Oh my
Like,
goodness. Lighting was great.
Okay.
That really stood out. I think because they've got the marquee section.
I've put down that name, but if you
Sorry,
want, I've got a photo.
because they've got the
now.
marquee section now. We've got lighting within, whereas we didn't have that with Fanny and Stella.
Yeah.
So they made really good, nice use of the lighting. Set is just it's
There's
just
no
the
one
space,
listed for lighting,
but there's
apart
nice
from
props.
production Peter Bull for Lamco Productions, but no lighting designs per se.
I noted
but
it. It was
whoever
really
was,
good. Really nice MDing singing as well. I know I liked the throwing in of the bass and also guitar on stage. I'm not sure who your bassist was, but I heard it was there and it really made the difference. So liked all that as well.
There you go.
So you're probably wondering how many stars we are going to give Pippin, which is currently playing here.
For Pippin, we are going to give 4
stars for this piece. I would, for me personally, I think it's on the higher end. I would go high. I think this was great for me, but we got to compromise because there's 2 of us.
Because just for me, and it's all about opinion and personal taste, I'm not enamoured massively by the book.
Okay, I think
story.
The book isn't could be better. The book is the book, but for this production, they brought it alive. They sold it. It wasn't superfluous. It was stripped back, so the bare bones were there, and I really enjoyed this experience from start to finish.
Would it blow your mind to know that Pippin was a real, actual person, historically?
Get out of here.
And Charlemagne was also. These are medieval, real life figures.
You're pulling my leg.
No, I'm telling you the total truth.
Pippin was the son of Charlemagne.
Yeah, but this.
And he just burst into song and could dance from time to time. And killed his dad and then reversed time and brought him back to life?
So, the actual story is
it's got very deep.
It's just the characters.
Oh, right. I'm with you.
But you've given so much away now.
Well, you're going to have to see it to make it all...
Yeah, to make it make sense, fit it together.
But they tell you right at the start that this story contains warfare.
Yeah, warfare.
Yeah, I'm sure it said war, love and something else and stuff.
Come down to the Garden Theatre here at the Eagle in Vauxhall to catch Pippin and let us know what you think by leaving us a comment down below. Now, we have had word at the moment that this is selling until, was it the 11th of October, I think?
Something like that.
But
it's sold out.
It's sold out till then.
But watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space, guys.
Because I'm pretty sure they're going to release more dates.
Keep your eyes open. We've got a bit of knowledge there. Maybe, just maybe, it might get another couple of weeks.
And if it does, we recommend you come and see it so you can tell us what you think.
But that's just what you think.
Because that's totally what I think.
And it's what I think. Like I said, down below, let us know. We're the Breakleggers.
And we'll catch you again soon.
Bye.